Hello once again. This is African Tech Gurus. This is where learning is by doing. And we are here today to solve the advanced task for the variables. What is this? Let me open for you. This one, variables, if, else, and while. So allow me to be able to go up to task number 10. That is where the advanced task begins. So we did the mandatory and now we are here to do the advanced task. So for the advanced task, it's a bit complex, but I am trying to simplify it in a way possible. So allow me first of all to analyze. I may only do one question at a time or per video. So we have this one called inventing in combination of brains and material. There are more brains you use, the less material you need. So then it says that write a program that prints all possible different combination of 2 digits. That is, you write a program that prints all possible combination of 2 digits. 2 digits is 0 and 1, meaning that 0 is okay. It's either 1 has to be lower and the other one has to be bigger. So it says that number must be separated by a dash. No, I'm sorry, by a comma, followed by a space. So that's what you are noticing is that a number, the combination of two numbers, that is, for example, if I say 01 and then 02, it has to be separated by a comma. Like, for example, you can see here 01, 02. Okay, guys, I will talk about this before I finish this. The 2 digits must be different. It has to be different. They don't have to be the same. There is no instance that the two numbers will be the same. Then another thing is that 01 and 10 are considered to be the same. Even if you interchange the numbers, they are, in this case, they are considered the same. So it's the same combination. The 2 digits are 0 and 1. Then print the smallest combination of 2 digits. Numbers should be printed in ascending order. That is from smallest to the largest. You can only use putchar function. Printf puts is forbidden. You can only put char 5 times maximum in your code. You are not allowed to use variable of type char. And then your code should be in main function. Okay, I have tried to come up with a small analysis of this particular question. So in my analysis is that I say I should be, remember it's combination of two numbers, so I use I and J. So the two numbers is I use I and J. So those are the two numbers. So remember we say that it has to be I and J, representing what? Representing 0 and 1. It is the same as saying 1 and 0. Remember that? They say that this one is the same. The other is what they give us in the instruction. I and J. So my number, so I will contain all instance of a number between 0 and 9. Between 0 and 9 like that. And then this other one will contain instance of between 0 and 9. So that is the instance of I and J. As I increase, J increase. As I increase, J increase. So remember one thing, you have been told this one is equal to this one. But also you have been told print the only smallest combination of the 2 digits. Okay, if I may ask you, between 0, 1 and 1, 0, which one is bigger? Probably, or what I can say is that at the end of the day, I will know that 1, 0 is bigger than 0, 1. Is that true? Yes, it is. So 1, 0 is greater. So you are only being asked print only the smallest combination. So you'll only print the instance where I is smaller than J. So you print the combination. So if it is, so it has, if for example I takes 1, if I takes 1 instead of saying 0 and say I takes 1, then probably J will be 2. J, if I takes 1, so if I assuming I is equals to 1, then J will be equal to 2. Why? So that we give a combination of 1, 2. This is the smallest combination because we cannot have 2, 1. We will only be having 1, 2. So that is what it means when say that print all smallest combination. So we have 1, 2 instead of we cannot be having 2, 1. We can have 2 where I is 2. Let's assume that now we have I to be 2. I is equals to 2. Then probably J will be, pause and try to answer that. J will be, yes, J will be 3. Why? Because it has to be ahead of this other one. I should be smaller than J. So that to come up with a smallest combination, then it means that I should be smaller than J. I believe you have understood that. So that is why it says that print only the smallest combination. So there is no, and then you have been asked, you have been given that the two must be different. So you cannot have an instant when we have 0, 0. Neither can we have an instant where we have 9, 9. No way, because they don't have to be the same. There has to be something different. I believe that far you have understood that. So that is what I'm trying to explain this particular question. I'm trying to analyze it so that you can be able to understand. So also another thing is that the number should be printed in ascending order, meaning that if the combination I have is, assuming I have 1, 2, I have 2, 3, I have 3, 4, I have 5 or 4, 5, I have 5, 6. So it will be in that order from the smallest to the largest. That's what I mean by ascending order. Yes. So how can we start this question? So first of all, I start from 0 value. That is the smallest instant. And then J will not start from I. It will start from 1 because it has to be ahead of it has to be bigger than J for it to have the smallest combination. So now that is mean that J will never start from 0 from 1. So J should be ahead of I by 1. So this is the possible combination. Okay, allow me now to take you back to the question. In the question, it says that this one, it means GCC like this or this one. It means that when you run the GCC, meaning that when you run the code to see the results and you test that file, the file that will be executed file is this one. You leave to have an executable file like this one. And then what will you have as the answer after you have run the code? You should have something like this. In other words, this is an hint. Whatever you see here, guys, is what is an hint to guide you. What do you expect to see in your code? What else is the output result? So this is what will give you. So now that this one is supposed to be look like that, let's try to write a code by ourselves. Let's come here. I am here where I have to write code. Remember, we say that first of all, let's list file. Where are we? Okay, let me go into a root directory like that. Then so I have to go inside. I have to go into a directory called repository called ALX low programming. That is cd ALX low programming like that. And then what we have inside, I have some 2 other directories. So I have to go to variables like that. I go to that particular directory. So when I list file, so these are the file that I have. Remember, these are the mandatory tasks. But now we have to create another new file. New file we are creating is called, I'm sorry, this is not the one. We are creating a file called 100 print comp3. So let me come here and say vi and then the name of the file, which we have paste here and then enter. So we are in the vi, let's click insert mode, that is I. Now let's begin writing the code. How can we be able to write the code in this case? So we are writing code. First of all, you have to understand that, remember, you have comments. You must include comments in your code, so that, remember that we say that the comments enhance our readability, be able to understand how it helps us to be able to understand how your code works. So let me begin by using include stdio. That is, first of all, like this one. And we talk about include stdio. If you are not understood what it means, go to our previous video where I was explaining about the content. So stdio.h, that is standard library for this. And then I write comments. I will now begin, or in this case, I will be writing step by step. Yes. some of you recommended that we do step by step so that they can be able to identify where they mess up. So like this one, and then I want to write main. Someone will ask me what is main doing. So let me not write anything much about this. I want to jump like this. I want to jump like this, and then okay, I will come back to write code for comments. So let me come to this point. The first point is int main void. Remember one thing, you have been told that your code should be inside a main function. It should be inside a main function. This is how you write a function, and then you close a function like this. So I have that. So now let's go back now to my comments. I write main. So main, it means that this is functions. This is a function to print combination. Let's say what combination of two numbers. Yes, like that. So that is this one and this one has to match. That's the name of the function. Then I come here. Now that I'm done with that, I come here. Then I write return. What will this function return? It will return 0 on success. If we are able to execute this code successfully, then it will return 0 on success. Now that you have understood that, yes, we are done with that. If you don't do like this or what I'm doing, you will always find an error saying that the function has no description, something like that, something of that sort. So now that we have described how our code will work, let's come now to the point of trying to write the code itself. So remember, yes, I gave you that we will be having only two variables, that is I and j. So they are all integers, int I, and then this is now what we call a variable declaration. But when we include this one, then that's called now a variable initialization. So we declare and initialize. So let's in this one again, int j, and then is equals to that is 0 also. They all begin at 0, but remember that we have to meet the condition. Okay, that is from 0. We initialize to 0 because nothing we are doing with it for now, but we will just begin from there. All right, now we will combine with the while condition. While condition, we say that while a condition, for example, we say while a condition is true. What condition are we giving now? While a condition is true, execute something. When there is rain, take an umbrella. Are we understanding something? In as much as it is still raining, go with the umbrella. In as much as you are still under 18, you are still a child. So it keep on increasing. Assume that you are age 0. As you're still under 18, print you are still a child, and then add 1. Then you are 1 year, you are still a child. I think the time where will be that particular age required. So now, while I, in this case, is less than 9, less or equal to 9. This has to be less or equal to 9 in that case. And then I close this one like that, and then I do this way, and then I close so that I will not forget. I open and then I close so that I will not forget. Then that is, if that condition is true, then what should I do? I check the second one now, j. I will check j. While j is less or equal to 9, still it has to be equals to 9. I'm sorry, I have to use this one because I initialize with it in bracket like that. So I will use like this one. Then I enter, I open this, and at the same time I close this so that I will not forget. So up that far, let me go back here. There's something I messed up here, I believe here. Yes, let me delete this, then I space, then I give like that. I'm sorry. Yes, so up this point, if check the second one, it will now check the second one. Is the second one now also less than 9? Yes. So, okay, how will this execution begin? It will begin from what is inside. So this one will begin to execute first before this other one execute. So the what is inside begin to execute first. So let's come to this point and say now that we have understood that all of them are less. Remember one thing, we say that it should never print the same equal thing. It should never be 0, 0 or 9, 9. Remember that? It should never be equal. So you need to say that one, that I and j should never be equal. So check now, if you have to check if we have to answer that if I'm sorry, that is after, yeah, it's not equal, that like this, and then I put in bracket, is I greater than j, meaning that I'm saying that what it means, what is in the bracket is I greater than j. Is that true? Oh, that's what I'm saying. If I is greater than j, but I negate this one when you talk about conditional operators. This one, the exclamation means that not. So what I'm saying is that I is greater than j, but I'm saying that not. We mean that when I is not greater than j, and as long as I will never be greater than j. Remember I say that one in the description, that I will never, this means that you do not need instant where I is greater than j. So there is no point we will say that I is greater than j. And then what else? I will use what we call the or. That is, I will use this one like this to say or now, or I, any instant where I is equals to j. Remember we say that I will never be equal to j and I should never be greater than j. Then I close that one. That's come to end of that. And then what comes next? Now that I've tested all those one, then let me come here and do this way, and then I close so that I will not forget. Then like that. Then what next do? I now print. Now that all conditions are met, I now print. I will use put char. Remember I was told not to, we were asked not to use what? The print. So put char I, and then I close the bracket like that. And then remember that the statement terminator. And then I also print the instance of j. Put char j. So I will print all instance of I and j, except that the instant where I is greater than j and where I is equals to j. After I've done that, I will come also to check. Remember we say that it should never be equal. So, and then also you should separate with a comma. So let's come to this point, check another thing, that is if also, what are we checking in this case? What we are checking is what we call the I, that is I is equal to 8. In the instant where I is equals to 8, like that, where instant is equal to 8 and j is equals to 9, like this, equal to 9, and then we close this one. So where I is equals to 8 and aj is equals to 9, what next do? You print a new line, meaning that's the end. You print a new line. So how can you print a new line? Remember we have told not to use the printf, we're using put char. So I will say put char into bracket, then like that, this one, then I close the bracket like that, then I do this way. So in as much as all these are made, now print a new line. Where is the, okay, I see another problem here, I'm sorry, so that I will never go back again. Yes, you see that there has to be a space between if and the bracket, else it will give you some errors. Now that we are at this point, now, we are done with this. We have closed that one and we are done with that. Let's talk now. What about now if if I is not equal to 8 and j is not equal to 9? What next? So we say else if that is the case, else what we do, what we do is that I'm using this bracket and closing at the same time so that I'm not forgetting. And then what I will use is that print comma. In as long as that is not the end, as long as that 8 and 9 is not the end, what do? You print a comma. How do you print a comma in this case? You use this one and then comma, and then you close that comma like that, and then you close the curly braces, and then use statement terminator. Now let's come to the second thing, that is we are printing a space. Remember we have been told what? That you need to be separated by comma and followed by space. So after comma we need a space. So let's now create a space. Say put car. Put car, in this case we are using put car, not to print f. And then what can we do? We use a space, this one, and then we space, and then this one. There's nothing we are writing in it. And then we use statement terminator to terminate that particular statement. So I come this point, I have closed that one. I come to the second one, I close that one, and then I now increase something. Yes, I will say j. That I will now to increase. Now that we have found that j is less than I, what do we do? Increment, so that it will, if we don't do the increment, then it means that that code will be infinite. It will never end. So we have to increase, so that, for example, I gave an example that while you are still 0, you are underage. So what can we do? You will remain underage if you don't grow. So you'll have to grow to 1 year, then grow 2 years, 3 years, until to the point whereby you are no longer less than 18 years, then you are an adult. So we increment that particular j, and then we go next. What can we go next? We close that. We come to this point where we have closed this one. Where is it? Yes, we have closed this one, and then we come now. We say j should be 0. That is should. That is to say that j, first of all, has to begin with 0. Like that. I believe that is okay. I'm hoping that this code will run. And then what next? Also we need that since j is increasing, that is mean that even j is increasing, that is mean that even I has to increase. So what do you do? I, and then increase I. I'm sorry. Increase I. Then we terminate like that. And then what next? What next can we do? After that we close, of which here we close here. That's why I was saying that I do, so that I not forget. And then we enter. Then the last thing, remember we say that it will return 0. It should return 0. So now we write now our return value, return. If all this code will run successfully, it should return 0, meaning that success. It may not display on the screen, but it will return 0, meaning that successful. Then we use statement terminator like that. And then I believe I close. When I was beginning this code, did I close? Let me check. If I want to check whether I close, I will click on this. Where is this one heading? I'll click on this. Sorry. Where does this closes? This one closes where? Let me check. That is now the problem. It has to close somewhere. Let me come this point. There is this one. I don't know where it's going. Let's first of all, I have to understand where it is. Yes, it has to let it come like that, so that we close this one. When we come here, we close this one now, and then okay. I'm sorry, this one has to be here. Yes, I knew I closed, but now I'm getting something not coming as expected. Let's come here now. It has to be after you close that one like that, and then it has to come below it like that. Then I need to write now, need to paste this one, the same code. Go to home, and then space. I wanted to have it there. Yes, that is okay. After we close now is when we have now return. So instead of having this one here, we have return. I'm sorry. This is a place where we have our return value, our return, then space. We close this one like that, and then this one, and then statement terminator. All right. Then that comes to the end of this, hoping that our code will run. So escape this one. Let me escape. Hoping that you have understood everything. Now let me run our GCC. Where is our GCC? Yes, here. I will run this GCC. So now that I've copied GCC, let me click here and then I paste. List file. Yes, we have this one. We have this file. We have created an executable file. Our file is now executed. Yes, now that we have this particular file, so what next is we git add. That is git add, git commit, and then which we are committing with. You're using this one to commit. What are you using? You're using this one. And then git push. And then let's check now our code. Come to checking our code. Then start a new. Yes, it has worked, as you can see. Thank you very much. Now that we are done with that, thank you very much for watching this one. I will try to do the second one, the task 11 and even 12. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That is what the support we need from you. Bye bye, guys.